Hi, Terry and Jennifer. This is Amanda. I am just doing a trial run of explaining how I think the at-risk process will work, partly to help me process it out loud and partly to give you guys a chance to chew on it. Okay, so when you open the spreadsheet at-risk collaboration, it brings you first to what I titled the landing page. I can change that if you have a better title. Here, I'm going to walk through the instructions. So the first step is that on Fridays in the advisor meeting, advisors will list at-risk students to be discussed. Teachers are also welcome to email advisors any students that the teacher themselves would like to discuss, and we'll add them to our list. I didn't get specific here about which advisor the teachers should email. In my mind, it is ideal for the teacher to email the advisor of the student that they wish to discuss. But I understand that sometimes teachers might just email me because it's one less step of looking up who the student's advisor is. So that's step one. I hope you guys are already thinking about feedback as you listen. Step two, I will schedule the at-risk conversations around the IEP meetings that are happening on any given Monday. So on Mondays when there are 0 IEP meetings, there will be up to 6 at-risk meetings. Each at-risk discussion will be 20 minutes each. So 20 minutes of a conversation per student. And I said up to because I could see us just feeling like that's too many. Also, so far we don't have very many Mondays where there are 0 IEP meetings. I'm not sure if we will have many or not. On Mondays with 1 IEP meeting, there will be 3 at-risk meetings. I'm going to show you visually what this looks like in a second. On Mondays with 2 IEP meetings, there will be 0 at-risk meetings for teachers. Because if there's 2 IEP meetings, that means teachers are already in those meetings for like 2 full hours. Advisors who are not attending IEPs that day will still meet. So the advisor team will meet and we will collaborate on each other's at-risk advisees. Okay, I'm going to click away from this screen to show you what that scheduling looks like. So at the bottom, this is weekly meeting times. So for example, I'll list the date at the top, and then I'll list what IEP meetings are happening. So it could be that I know that this week or last week there was one at 8 or 8:30. They're often at 9 or 10, but I'll just list what time it's happening that week and the student, and I'll use initials. And then I'll list who is attending that meeting, and I'll be able to do that by clicking into the meeting calendar invite and see who has said yes to the meeting. Based on that and the list of students that advisors and teachers came up with on Friday, I will pick students to be discussed. And so, for example, if there is a 9 o'clock IEP meeting, then there would be a 10 o'clock, a 10:20, and a 10:40 at-risk conversation. And that would allow the teachers to attend this 9 o'clock one and also to attend at-risk conversations. Now, as I'm saying that out loud, I'm recognizing a question I have. So on Mondays with 1 IEP meeting, I say there will be 3 at-risk meetings. So that means that, Jennifer, our question had been about follow-up time for advisors. So if the advisor, there will be 1 advisor in this 9 o'clock meeting, but all the rest of them won't be. So they'll actually have that hour of time to prepare for these at-risk discussions or to take care of other work. But that way, they're not spending 2 full hours in the meetings, because you and I had talked about the concern of needing some buffer for them to do follow-up tasks. So that's what this would look like for an example. If the meeting is at 10, then these would all be 9 o'clock, 9:20, 9:40, and so on. If there are 2 meetings, then these times for at-risk would just be advisors instead of teachers. Okay, I'm hoping this makes sense, but you'll be able to tell me what doesn't make sense when we meet. All right, so after I've done all of that planning and like organizing Then I will create calendar invites and send them to the advisor who should be hosting and the teachers 1 week ahead of time. And I have the advisor's Google Meeting room links, so I should be able to just plug those into the calendar invite. So let me just say the Google Meet link will be included in the calendar invite. Okay? Because we'll always hold it in the student's advisor's online meeting room. That's the easiest way to organize where people should be going. At the start of the discussion, I'm asking people to select someone to take notes on the tab for that student. And this could be, Jennifer and I were talking, this could be another advisor. So if an advisor, it's not their student being discussed, but they could come to the meeting in order to take notes and contribute. So we might even, as I say that, I might even add, support advisor. So we could have an additional advisor coming to offer support and to take notes. Okay, now here's an example of a notes page. I just did student name, 10th grade. So I'll update this based on what meetings are happening, and then we'll add additional tabs for each student. And so people would just click here and type in the date, October, whatever, and they would type the names. Why did that go away? That's very weird. Okay. I have to figure out why that's vanished. Okay. So they would type names of who all was in attendance, and then they would start taking notes, Chromebook issues. I'm typing fast, I'm making typos, and they would just type notes here and here and here. And then I made a spot for action steps and an example. So let's say that the advisor and teacher have already been encouraging the student to go to office hours, but there hasn't been follow through. So let's say the action step for this week is simply to eliminate the step of the student or the parent going to the schedule, going to the virtual office hours schedule. So the advisor is just going to provide it directly. Here's when Miss Becky is in her office hours, and here is her link. You don't have to find it. I'm giving it to you directly. And then the person who's doing that step, like their name would appear there. My thought is that if any student has multiple meetings, oh, I see. It put the date way over on the right. Okay. That was weird. Okay, so if someone has multiple meetings, which obviously is going to be the case, I will, the time they have the second meeting, I'll just hop in and I will bump this all down, and then I will I'll set it up for a second meeting. So, November 12th or whatever. So it's going to keep doing that because it's a date. Oh, well, I'll just have, that'll be annoying, but I'll fix it. So that way in one page, we could have all of the documentation for a given student. Okay, I better stop because this is already long. So there you go. That's what I have so far.